Kwai kwai, nito bak. Hello, my friends. My name is Joe Bruchac. I'm a writer and a storyteller, and much of the work that I do often draws on my own background as a person of American Indian ancestry. My family on my mom's side is connected to the Abenaki Nation, the people of the Northeast, an Algonquin-speaking people. As a writer and a storyteller, for the past 30 years and more, I've dealt with American Indian history, culture, folklore, and now in this novel, I'm using those things I've learned over those many years, many cases from elders, to create a novel that comes entirely out of my imagination, a fantasy story called Wolfmark. I think one big difference about Wolfmark is that it's done from an American Indian point of view, which means when you talk about something like a werewolf, it's not the standard Lon Chaney or American Werewolf in London kind of werewolf. It's something that really ties into traditional American Indian culture, where the wolf is not a figure of fear, but is actually seen as a brother, in many cases a totem animal or a guardian spirit. So the relationship of my main character, Luke, to the wolf is nothing at all like that terrifying relationship we find in most werewolf fiction. I think another thing too that's a little different about Wolfmark, that's a little bit under the surface, is that it's a very literary novel. Even though it's a horror story or a monster story or a shapeshifter story, there's poetry on almost every page. There's translations of Russian poetry, and there are quotes from different American and world poets built into the narrative in subtle ways. So I think that teachers could have fun with this book too, kind of ferreting out those little hidden poetic details that are part of the narrative. One thing I hope people will get out of reading Wolfmark is that everybody has problems. Everybody has issues to deal with. Everybody has conflicts to resolve. And everybody at one stage or another is not happy about who they are. My main character, Luke, has got a lot of problems. In fact, I've piled layer after layer of difficulty on top of him. But in the midst of all that, by learning to depend on himself, by learning to have faith in his family, in his culture, the things he's learned, he's able to overcome seemingly insurmountable difficulties. Now, every kid who reads this is not going to discover that he can turn into a werewolf, but every kid who reads this, I'm sure at some time in his or her life, has found themselves on the outside looking in, not sure who they are, what they were going to do, and how to deal with problems that seemed as if they would never end.